Welcome back, guys. So today's video is going to be about the cars you need to own in 2022, because these cars are going up on prices very fast, to the point many of you will not be able to afford them every time you are considering buying one of these, because the price is just hiking and hiking and hiking to complete out of control.
What? Goddamn, get it done, will ya? Woo! When the blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories. We running through New York, so you know.
Okay, guys. So, as many of you guys know, inflation has hit everybody very hard, especially on the used car market. If many of you guys don't know, I monitor the car market nearly every single day, because what I do as a BMW channel. Now, BMWs in the UK used to be very cheap, and obviously certain ones still are. If they're your basic normal BMW, they're still the average same price. But the cars I'm talking about today are certain M cars that have gone up on extreme value. And when I say extreme, I mean proper extreme. So, as many of you guys know, the E46 M3 is one of them. Now, the E46 M3 convertibles are cheap still. You can pick them up for about 10 to 12 grand, good condition ones. I see them all the time on eBay and everywhere else going very cheap. Now, they look good on the outside, regardless of the mechanicals. I don't know. Are they cheap because of the mechanicals and the rear subframe hasn't been done yet? Who knows? But they are going cheap. But what I have noticed is the M3 Coupe are at a price right now that most people can't even afford. I'm seeing them anywhere in the region between 18, 20, 24 grand and upwards, and they just keep on climbing. Many of you love that car, favor that car, and most of you, it's your dream car to own. The E46 M3 was legendary. It was a legendary design by BMW, and it was one of probably the best 3 Series shapes ever made. But because more and more people are going back to them, is what I told you. If you do remember watching my Don't Ever Sell Your M52 engine, and I told you more and more people are coming back to these cars. Many of you didn't believe me. Now, bearing in mind that was just about the M52. But when I did actually say that, I was talking as a whole about all the old previous gen BMWs. And this just shows you exactly what I mean. Everyone is grabbing these old classic M cars right now, and it's making the prices go absolutely insane on the market. It is very hard to find one. I mean, even a smashed up one, you're probably looking at still 7 to 8 grand just to buy it damaged. I look very hard at all these cars, and that's only the first one that's gone up in price. The next one I want to bring your attention to, many of you guys are going to know this, is the E60 M5 and the E63 M6. Both of them cars, from what I saw them at 2 years ago, where you could pick them up for 10, 12, 13 grand, have disappeared. Completely vanished off the market. You will not find one for nor love nor money for less than 18 to 19 grand anywhere on eBay, Auto Trader, Gumtree, Craigslist. No matter where you look, the prices have gone insane. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's because the used car market prices have gone up. I don't know if that's because, as I said to you, more people are buying these now because it was the only V10 with a naturally aspirated engine that wasn't turbocharging. It was the only V10 that they put in a sedan. And obviously in the M6, it sounds and goes really nice because it's designed, it's coupe, it's as light as the E92, and therefore many people want the M6 because the V10 delivers really good power in the M6 itself. Now, the M6's prices are increasing a lot more than the E60 M5 right now, and I mean really high. You're seeing them for 23 to 25 grand. Some of them, even ones with over 100k, are still going for 18 to 19 grand. Bearing in mind, I'm talking about 2005, 2006 models here. These ain't even LCI. These are just your normal 2005, 2006 model M5s and M6s. The prices are going insane. Now, part of that is purely because of what BMW did. When they released the F10 M5, everyone thought it was going to be the most reliable BMW ever made. Now, I don't take nothing away from the F10 M5. It's an incredible, incredible piece of engineering. It's an incredible car. It's my ultimate dream car to own. The F10 M5 is like one of my dying cars I need to own before I die. Yes, I have the E60 M5, but the F10 M5 is very special to me. In a way, it's completely different to the E60 M5, and therefore I would love to own the F10 M5. Now, that being said, a lot of people who buy these ain't mechanically inclined. They're running up huge, huge repair costs. A lot of them left the E60 M5 because they said it was a piece of crap and it was unreliable, kept failing on them, it had the rod bearing failure, the SMG pump when you redline the crap out of it, and it's irresponsible owners that damage these cars. But everyone went to the F10 M5 because everyone knew it had the better gearbox. Not only did it have the better gearbox, everyone thought the engine would be more reliable because it was the S63. It's a newer development by BMW, it won't suffer the same issues. Little did people know when they went to the F10 M5, they're going to be having to do rod bearings, it's going to have coolant leaks, it's going to suffer the same stuff as the V10. So what did people do? Instead of going for a turbocharged car, because mostly people didn't want to have a turbocharged car, they would have loved to keep their V10, because it was the one and only V10 produced by BMW, and it gave an epic sound that you will not find on any other BMW to this day and age. So what did they do? Thought, basically, screw this. Instead of keeping the F10 M5 paying for the same things they could have done on their V10, coming back to the E60 M5. And this is what BMW have done. And BMW have done this themselves. They're partially to blame because of making the newer engines having the same problems as the previous gen. Why would you pay for the same repairs to have on a V8 when you could pay cheaper, just a bit cheaper on the V10, and have that incredible sound, and it's naturally aspirated and it's only going to rise in price? So that is people's logic. A lot of people know that. The most people snapping these cars up right now are classic car auctions, a lot of high-tech enthusiasts, a lot of, like I say, traders who know these cars are going up in value. A lot of them are putting them away, restoring them, doing all the paintwork, making them nice, and then keeping them for years. I know there's one guy out there, and I don't know if he watches these videos, but he is a car collector, and he's got a warehouse with millions of pounds worth of cars, and he's in my old area of London, and he's got 10 of these sitting in his warehouse, just sitting there. He doesn't need the money. He has no reason to sell any of his cars, and he's got 10 of these sitting there just waiting for the price to increase, and that's what he does. And that's what a lot of people are doing with these at the moment. That's why you're not seeing them on the street. That's why the numbers are coming down, and that's what's increasing the prices, because people are storing them just like I am. This one's going to be stored, and I've still got it. You can see it behind me. I have no reason to sell it, and it's just sitting there. I have no intention to sell it, no matter what the money and what the prices are at the moment. I don't need the money, and I definitely don't need to sell this car. Finding another one that's had everything done to it is nearly impossible. Now, if you guys remember, I actually only bought this car for 5 grand, and that was literally pot luck because I had a friend who knew someone who I managed to find this car from, and the guy had it a year and a half and wasn't able to sell it. It was actually sitting in a car park behind locked gates because of the fault codes it actually had, because nobody could drive it. Nobody wanted it because people wanted to buy it and be able to drive it straight away. Nobody wanted to put the money into it, so it ended up coming down to me. As you guys know, there was a lot I had to change on this car to get it perfect. And when you go and buy an E60 M5, bear in mind, majority of the jobs that I've done on this, you're going to need doing. Do not be fooled just because it says rod bearings replaced. Rod bearings is one of the minor things that this car actually needs to run right. You still need a lot of parts to make this car perfect the way it come out the factory. It is not just going to run perfectly just because it said rod bearings. That's complete no. The only thing that stops is complete engine failure. But you still have to do the injectors, the throttle actuators, the solenoids, the thermostat, the water pump, coolant hose if need be, CCVs, but you know, there's 4 of them on there. There is a lot of stuff to do on this car, and I've gone through it in my 2 years of owning it now, and I've overhauled everything. Now, the next car it brings me to, which I've noticed the price is bouncing through the roof, and you've probably seen every YouTuber is buying this car right now, is the BMW E92 M3. That car has literally sprung up, and I mean literally sprung up. The prices of them are going and going and going and going. The same price as them, you can buy an E46 M3, some of them. It's that insane right now. You know, you wouldn't believe that an E46 M3's prices are the same as the E92 M3. But it's become a very, very popular car again because it's got the S65 engine, the V8, the race engine, as many people know it as. It's a really, really great engine, same as what the V10 is in the E60 M5. It's just got 2 cylinders less, but it's highly desirable because it can be used every day. It doesn't use much fuel, and it's a V8, which is what's coming into today's change. Also, obviously you've got Mercedes with their V8 AMGs, BMW with all their V8s now, so it's more practical. The E92 M3 prices are hit the roof. We've also got the E93 M3. They, to be honest, can fluctuate on the price because again, nobody really wants the convertible version. It seems to be the coupe versions people are going for. Now, I'm not lying to you about any of the prices. You can go and check this out on eBay yourself. I look all the time and the prices are insane. I've got 2 friends that are traders right now, and even they said they have no idea what has happened to the car market. But what they do know is for some reason, every M car they list for sale is selling straight away. Whereas they said a year ago, they would list them cars and have them on their forecourt for over 6 months to 8 months without selling them, to the point they would end up pushing them to another trader who would give them the money that they paid for it just to take it away. Now they list it and they're gone. And I don't know if that's because a lot of YouTubers have come on the scene, YouTubers are wanting to buy these cars, or it's just because people are buying them to keep as they go up on their value. I don't know. Again, the S65 does suffer the same issues as the V10, you know, but people seem to think it's going to be cheaper. For the price you're spending on the V8 to overhaul it, and yes, I know the 3 Series is more favoured, you're better off to go for the V10. It makes more viable sense. You're going to be spending the same price on parts, it requires the same maintenance, no different, it's just 2 cylinders less. So it doesn't make viable sense to go for the 3 Series. The next one it brings me to, and this is the one and only car I can possibly say is a true icon in the BMW world, and it's a car, another car that I would love to own. Many of you probably wouldn't even believe this, but it's a car I've lusted over even before YouTube, even before getting the C60 M5, because I never thought I'd even get one of these, but come up cheap, so I bought it. Is the E39 M5. That was my all-time ultimate car to have, and many who know me will know that already. I always said I wanted an E39 M5. That engine is just pure bliss, and yes, it does suffer its issues, same as the V10 with the solenoids, you know, fan system itself, but all of that is easily rectified. It's a great engine. Bear in mind, guys, that was the first V8 M produced engine that they had. And what did that do? That raised the bar for engines alike, like the E92 M3, which is the S65, and going forward to the S63. Bearing in mind, the E39 M5 was the only 5 Series M car that had a manual transmission, never an automatic. That's what makes that car a driver's car and the ultimate BMW M car to own. But prices on them, if you can even find one, are nearly hitting 30,000. I saw one go in a classic car auction for I believe £75,000, and that is no lie. The lower the mileage they are, the more money them things absolutely bring. Ones with 100k you can find all day on eBay for around the same price as an E92 M3 again, sometimes even higher. Now the prices do depend on who the individual is and how much they think their car's worth and how much they're actually willing to take on the final price. But like I said, if you are in the market for one of these, 2022 is the time to buy them right now. And the reason I say buy it right now is because if you've got money saved already looking to purchase one of these cars, next year the money is going to go up even more, and you're going to have to put more money on top. As inflation hits, things become more expensive, you're having to spend more, which means you're going to be able to save less. If you're able to save less, you're never going to be able to get that car. My best advice is to try and find one broken. Obviously not with the engine blown, that requires work. A lot of you are going to be scared of that. None of you are going to want to touch a car like this to try and repair it, but there's many videos out there helping you, including myself. I bought this car the way it was. I took a gamble. Yes, I took a gamble. Bearing in mind, I knew nothing about the rod bearings. I had to drive this car 500 miles back home. I then had to drive it 500 miles back to my friend to be able to do all the rod bearings, which we done. That car could have gone on me at any time. Until we dropped the bottom end, we wasn't sure about the rod bearings. It was just pot luck. It had no history showing that the rod bearings have ever been done. No, nothing. I took a gamble on this car when I bought it. And those are the cars you guys should get. Why? Because they're cheaper. You'll end up coming out on top because the amount you'll spend on parts, especially if you're doing it yourself, you will end up spending less than you would have buying one. As I said, I bought this car for £5 grand. I've spent over, I think it's coming up to nearly £8 grand on it. That only puts me in debt with this car at 13 grand. Try and find an E60 M5 for 13 grand anywhere on the market today. Try and find any of them M cars on the market for 13 grand today. You'll be very, very hard pushed. And the only car you'll possibly get in for 13 grand, and that's not with everything done, is going to be an E46 M3 convertible. And that's not knowing if any work has been done at all. Most people who sell these cars only care about how the body looks and how the interior looks, because underneath, most people do not check when they go. I would strongly advise, if you're going to purchase one of these cars, to get an independent car inspection, and I would strongly recommend taking a scan tour view is a must on any M car. Thirdly, get it to a garage with a ramp so you can look underneath. Rust is a big factor, especially on the E46 and E39, and it's something that must be checked. So I hope this now clears up what cars you guys need to target in 2022, and I mean fast, before the prices rise even more and you're only going to kick yourself that you didn't purchase it when it was 10 grand cheaper the year before. So thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.